All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to our adaptive leadership program. I'm curious. I'm going to ask you guys, I'm curious why you came to this one and why you're, other than that I told you to come. Since there's so few of us, I thought we could I'm just curious what are you kind of expecting or hoping maybe to get out of this session? Not knowing what it is at all.
So I recently became a manager of people, and so I'm figuring out how that works and
Awesome.
how to work with people in that capacity.
Right, okay. I'm going to say it for the audio, she just became a manager and is trying to figure out how to work with people. Seema?
I did circle it before you asked me to come, so I was
Awesome.
already on my list of the 3 great things right now. But we just have a new, I have a new boss.
Ah,
And so I've been thinking about, I've had 4 new bosses in like 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a lot
Yeah.
of control. And
Okay.
So, you don't just say that in the mic, but.
someone has a new boss.
And it's nice to think about leading up and leading them.
Yeah. Do you want to share something or?
I became a PI 3 years ago, so I started managing people.
What's a PI?
Principal investigator.
Oh, okay, principal. Okay.
And so I started managing people.
Right.
I'm just learning how different people are.
Right.
That adaptive process.
Yeah.
Skills.
Okay. Anyone else want to share? Yeah?
So I work in an incredibly hierarchical organization.
Ah.
And peers tend to gel together, but when we do talk about issues, they turn into consideration sessions. And
Yeah.
they're productive and problem-solving.
That is awesome.
Really hoping to.
So this is the perfect thing so she just said that she works in a really hierarchical organization, and when the peers gel, which they do, it sounds like it ends up becoming commiseration, and so she's looking for something more positive and problem solving. So this is perfect for that. So what is peer consultation? This is me, right? So peer consultation is a method for, it's a collaborative technique for encouraging new interpretations of seemingly unsolvable problems. So the idea is that we all have sticky problems that we can't solve, or that we are I'm not even going to try to solve that. They usually deal with difficult personalities in our institutions, or even in your personal life, right? They're often things that have been around for a really long time. They're long-standing problems and entrenched. And they're often, as I said, they're intensified by interpersonal relationships. So the process is really going to get you to ask your peers to help unpack what's going on there, how you see yourself in the situation that you might not be aware of, and assumptions that you might be making. Traditionally, it's done with strangers. Peer consultation is usually done at professional development workshops, and you're there with a group of people who don't know who you are, and you have to explain a situation they know nothing about. So this is kind of perfect here. We're doing it at the Hammer internally. We try really hard. So the idea with strangers is that you have objectivity and people who are giving you insights because they don't know nothing about the situation. And Arielle's going to talk a little bit about how we're doing it at the Hammer.
Yeah, so at the Hammer, Susan and I are both in the communications department there, and the director of our department is really interested in internal communications and professional development, and she brought this peer consultation tool to us as a way to kind of do some problem solving internally within our department. So we've done it maybe 5 or 6 times within our department. One example, it's been so beneficial for us. One example is, we all sit in one room. We're maybe 20 feet from our graphic designers, but Susan and I were in a group with one of our graphic designers who had a really long-standing problem he had been producing a gallery guide for 2 years. It was in progress for 2 years, which just is insane. But what happened was there were so many different people involved in this process, including, deputy directors and curators, that he really felt like he didn't have any power being the graphic designer. And so the power struggle is a really big issue that often comes up in peer consultation because he felt like he didn't have the power. The project kind of just kept going in circles because no one was making any decisions. So first of all, that was something we had never known about, even though we sat next to him for 2 years. We never knew that he was going through this, so that was helpful. But even though we weren't able to necessarily solve the problem, we were able to kind of having an outsider's perspective, we were able to give him some tips for ways to help move the project forward, even without compromising his position. So we started that internally. Since then, Susan and I have brought peer consultation to one of our cross-departmental meetings, which is a digital working group. And that's been really successful. Peer consultation works really well, like Susan said, when people don't know a lot about a certain project, so they're a little bit more removed. So cross-departmental meetings work really well. Situations like this work even better, but even within our department, we really have seen a lot of the benefits. So
There's us.
there's us doing peer consultation in my backyard. So some
eating ice cream afterwards.
Some of the benefits of peer consultation, like we mentioned with our graphic designer, is just kind of getting new perspectives on a project that he had been dealing with for 2 years. He's just so in it that he couldn't really step outside of the problem. So we were able to kind of give him some new perspectives. Also getting clarification on some problems. Empathy, we just get empathy for our peers by listening to what they have to go through. Breaks down silos between different departments. So if, we did it in these cross-departmental meetings, and now we kind of know more about what's happening in the museum, really, what's happening in other departments. And validation, too. I mean, just from my personal experience, I presented a problem during one of the peer consultation exercises, and I was just starting to feel like, oh, maybe it's not really a problem, maybe I'm just thinking too much into it. But even just hearing my colleagues say, like, wow, that really sucks, or that makes you as a staff member feel better and feel a little bit more validated. And even though that doesn't necessarily help you solve the problem, it's good for your emotions. So
It's good for your emotions. Okay, so I'm going to talk through what the process is. I'm going to tell you what the steps are, and then we're going to do it. Okay?
What should we say?
Oh.
Safe space.
Oh, yes. So this is a safe space. There's been so many sessions here that I've been to that are like Chatham House rules, nothing, So don't live tweet. We're recording the audio of what we're saying about what the process is, but once we break into groups, safe space, cone of silence, please don't retweet what your peer is whoever is presenting. Don't talk about it outside. Don't, let's keep it safe. And if you're not okay with that, please leave. But I think you guys are all okay with it. And really try to be open, be accepting of what people are bringing to you, and and be accepting of your colleagues who are listening to you present something, and don't judge. Please don't judge. Okay. So it's going to take us. It's a sort of a half an hour. Wait, 10, 20, 30. We have the 40-minute version here. Okay, we do this in different time increments sometimes. So we are going to break out into groups of 4 or 5. So we're probably going to do 2 groups, one of 4 and one of 5. One person needs to be the case presenter. So think about if anyone has a sticky problem. So it's a problem that you're having trouble solving. It might have interpersonal relationship issues. It might have been really long term, like you've been dealing with this for 5 years, so long that you thought it was never going to be solved and you forgot about it. And it can be work-related and it can be personal-related. Our manager often gives the example of she once put the demise of her relationship in a peer consultancy. Like, what should I do? Should I break up with him? Should I stay with him? So you can do your personal life, you can do your professional life. The presenter will then present their case for 5 minutes, and you want to focus on, it's a story, right? You're telling a story. Who are the main players? What was happening? What were the other people doing and saying? What actions have you taken? What do you think the big problem is, etc. Then your peers are going to gather data from you. They're going to ask you questions, and it's very factual. It's who, what, why, when. Don't try to move to problem solving at that point. It's going to be hard not to do that. We will remind you. Don't start solving the problem yet. You'll do that for 5 minutes. And then the case presenter is going to turn around and turn their back to the rest of the group. And this is where the magic happens. So the group is then going to diagnose what they just heard. And you're not allowed, the person who presented is not going to speak, and you just have your back. It's really good to take notes, actually, to write down what you're hearing. The group is then going to diagnose it. We've given you on the back of the sheet, there's a series of archetypes that sort of describe what that person might be, how that person might be seeing themselves. Are they seeing themselves as the hero in this situation and they have to solve the problem? Are they the victim? Are they like, oh, woe is me, how, I'm poor me. So you want to sort of diagnose what's going on and what they might not be seeing and the assumptions that they might have. Then we do brainstorming for 5 minutes. And then the case presenter can turn back around and you guys can talk about how that was and if there were any good things that were presented, what you might act on. And then we can all debrief together, okay? Are we good? Okay, so let's break into 2 groups. And I think, let's start with who might want to present something. Because then we can group people around those. We need 2 people, 2 problems. Do you have a problem? Do you have a problem? Perfect. So can one of you people move over to these guys? Yeah? Let's do it. And you're going to want to put your chairs in a circle. We'll have a circle over here. And we'll have a circle over here. And we need one person to go over here. I'm going to make you guys pick a person. Should I pick a person? Okay. Thank you. I'm just trying to one or 4. Yeah. Wait, you're doing alrighty. Okay, sit in a circle. You guys can.
Yeah,
we're doing 5 minutes. Okay. So do you guys have you have something to take notes on? Sorry, we should have brought paper.
We do have paper.
We have tons of the. Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, case presenters, you have 5 minutes. Starting now. And we have prompts on the screen if you need them.
And those are also on your worksheet.
falling asleep. So it has a bad. So I feel awful when I'm really, really like just a shitty feeling something with them. And I feel like it's so expensive for me. And then it's like
Music, you click it, and then like you're good to go. Is it as a shop? Yes, no, I just don't, I don't know.
oh, yeah. I don't think I know that much about it. Yeah. But that's right. So we had a lot of conversation about usually yesterday. About a lot, very open.
2 more minutes.
But he doesn't because they're basically or he's like, I don't know, that's what it is. He can't not be trying to say my mom is a lot of church. And so we had a lot of conversations on this. There's a lot of super small, but then there are challenges there in his approach to but also
One more minute.
And she's to be working naturally, like my job, and which is such an incredible situation. You know, lots of people. She has I know, you know,
That's a pretty good pair of policy. That's a pretty good, yeah.
Okay, you should be wrapping this up. So now we're going to enter the data gathering phase. So for 5 minutes, you're going to the group can ask the case presenter questions. Keep them factual: who, what, where, when, why. Try to resist the urge to start solving the problem. So who was that person that was involved? What did you do for this? When was this happening? Those kinds of questions.
What about you? In the same the rest of it? Yeah. Is that the you said people don't get, I didn't understand this well. People don't get it.
It's the first step. They often like leads to clarity.
That's what
the way it's
but they could.
Maybe wrapped up. How long is your
Can I ask, I started out this concept like hierarchy is not better. Like where in the hierarchy of stuff compared to the other people on the team
Did that
who were working.
was that a general relationship just as well?
It was again, it was a little bit institution, even though it's not actually that way.
And it was the official department.
It is considered research evaluation, and we're probably like 2 down in the hierarchy from my boss.
How long has she been here? 6, so not much longer than we were.
But he's a good.
No.
He's the lawyer.
So just one more question.
Oh, so he's reporting or not?
Is her
Sort of,
position-
like,
Oh, so sort of.
I am.
Yeah, but is it sort of threatening? Does she have like, does she have like a lot of support from
Even my
people?
boss.
Okay, so she has some vulnerabilities in her position. That's helpful because I know sometimes you know where they're coming from.
No, it's not an emotion, but it was a connection where everyone's trying to change. Yeah. Which is what we try to do in the project. But it's like, how many of the projects that we're like, contributing, but we're not very good at all. Smaller projects, we'll just have a list of there and we
All the other ones are internal, they're proper. How big are those still?
2 more minutes.
Big groups of 4 people with
This is a different.
and how big is yours?
Do you have people at your relative institution? So the people who will be going to the institutions are all senior people?
It's actually, some are senior, some they're all okay. Yeah, like, and all the things happen right now. Wait, but he's been working at the institution for 20 years. Okay.
1 more minute.
Actually, very helpful.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
When you said move, she moved did he have is he at all in the same environment?
No, totally different. And then the other one is really closely working with kids.
This might want to sound like a weird question, but do you feel like you have a
And is that
about the giant project that if you were unleashed, that you'd be able to move things along?
I think in this particular one, how much of your stuff
My alarm's going to go off.
a lot. I'm not recent.
Okay, time is up. Now we're going to move into the diagnostic phase. So this, you have 10 minutes for this. And this is where you're going to, the presenter is going to turn their back to the group. And the rest of you are going to diagnose the situation. We have questions up here that will help with prompts. And I remind you that on the back of your sheet is also several archetypes that you could look at. These, you don't have to do this, but this can sometimes help you sort of figure out what's going on by looking at possible archetypes. And these aren't the only ones. There might be other ones that you could think of. So really focus on what are the hidden issues. What does a situation look like from other people's perspectives? One of my favorite questions to ask is what would, I don't think we have this on here actually, is what would success look like to your presenter and what would success look like to other people in the situation that your presenter described? So 10 minutes for this.
But then he doesn't have a business there for someone who's just.
And it's not a journal that I'm so interested in and how I engage. Like if he was brought on in a much more outreach kind of oriented position and is doing like his full explainer stuff, it's like the passion for to the institution in the first place is not being.
It also sounds like this. Personal
I think that that feels
That should start, like if you're a wiggle person, it's possible. I mean, it's reminding me
So I think it's
There's a story about how their contributions and something that it was like first generation kids to go to college in the US. And they were coming from necessarily that's not happened in that college. And how even when there were a lot of opportunities given to these people that like some were like, oh, it's all funded and you don't have to get grants and like here's what you can contribute all this time. Like that did not set them for success and a lot of them still failed out of college because really the skill set to know how to do college. Oh, I can go to the library, I can ask for help from tutors. Like I think we really use that eventually was to like reach out for and then the response to that was kind of like shutting down, not learning, not wanting to like voice and help and just feeling totally overwhelmed and powerless. And it's something that you do with your life and similar situations. So experience
But I've never heard of the role of who's working, who's been in the same process, has no cooking skills.
5 more minutes.
But if the law doesn't speak up and it isn't a position. So this is also more. And the organization is what it sounds like. But it was challenges, it feels like it has its hands to kind of help these people because they're putting effort into this to be able to say, like, here's what you need to do. It's like this, it's like you have to really do things.
And having one year, like, they're trying to think about solving some of these things beyond word. Not just identifying like why this might be going on. And wondering if it might to like have somebody have more of a kind of conversation. That's not good with this woman in the process. Like if it needs to be some HR, it needs to be there. Oh, we're not. Oh, sorry. I thought we were supposed to. Sorry.
But you can Google the
Okay.
face Archetypes too and see it. Sorry.
Just kidding.
I'm trying to follow the rule. So the meeting, I see her as a
Yes, totally.
Exactly.
3 more minutes, just a reminder that we're not solving the problem yet, we're just diagnosing what's going on.
It also, like, there's elements of hero too, where it's essentially, but it's but there's no complicated all of them. No matter how you dig out the camera.
And I think the issue with the car is never really hard for her.
Yes.
Well,
And
she hasn't put it.
Right, well, and also usually talk about the person in the situation, it's also like, we need you to do this for your own, and that's incredibly frustrating. Especially having conversations about conversations. Wow. I mean, I will say I was a little bit pause we don't work with depression and it goes on. We don't should be expected to stay, especially if they're at the top of the hierarchical. I get that not like institutional, but I mean, we also feel like he's not going to be your job and wants his motivation to stay late. I think he's at sea, and there was his motivation to stay late, so I don't know if it's fair to expect like that. He's very passionate about the company. We should also do something
Yeah,
to do this.
I didn't know. But I didn't know if there were differences. Like, we have some, anything with an athlete, we part, because she does stay like very open, or there's schedules like that, and then she comes in. So I don't quite know, but I guess it would be interesting to know how much maybe it's a work, does his work done in his full office to be a part of it now? How does that feel? Expectations of work, because they're staying like, and then the bars come early, and all the things that means I'm not to be on as well.
I believe, like actually, I
Institution.
should listen to
Less than a minute left. Start wrapping up.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like that's what elements of this is kind of not that failure feels okay, but that is without guilt, but that the challenge seems that huge and possible, especially if it's institution-wide. It's not like this is one isolated incident.
this person in my department, there are things.
Alrighty. Okay, now that you're done figuring out what's going on, it's time to brainstorm and really go crazy here. Think out of the box. Like, what was I'm trying to think of one of Gia's examples. Like, maybe one of the options is quit your job, you know? Like, entertain the really out of the box ones. The crazier and more courageous they are, the more they'll get juices flowing and get to something that might actually be realistic. So 5 minutes on this. Go. Yeah, stay turnaround. Sorry.
One of like entire institution.
Or maybe keep switching people and roles until they come.
Or you can just,
Like, if you say, we're gonna keep these people, and give them like until they get their words, and then just keep moving them around.
Or provide them like access to job counselors to help them find a job outside the organization that might be better. Instead of just being disciplined hiring. I was also thinking, maybe some just finding intercurrental training. What even if you're pairing them up with one-on-ones, but it's not really training, but it's like, oh, okay, well, here's someone in this other department that does similar tasks. Go work together for a while. Yeah, absolutely. People who are, doing similar tasks in different departments sit together instead of the different
that
ones
one, so
together.
with this difficult loss, I went around her project because that should have
Like, they cover just go through this again. So asking for this,
I just wanted
but say like, I'm here to help you.
like I bust that she decided
And like, we do that outside the office too. Like, hey, let's go get a
for
coffee.
like getting, he's the person.
Real talk. Do you know how to be in this job? I
So,
can help you.
the project ultimately is it's but yeah, she just
Or even just as some letters of frustration to the director of the organization or the board or whoever is making the decision to do this too. We're still dealing with the facts years out.
I've had great chats in Slack, and then everything is there, and it's supported. So that's a good, so better quality.
And it sort of is.
Yeah, it's true. It's like a professional.
Because, I mean, he's a
And also, we also had a guy come in and take conversations with people, just like their role is changing.
You're trying to
Maybe you try to make other aspects of this guy.
just have no idea.
Not just the guy.
And she's a nice artist. But it's great, you just.
Overpraise, right? Overpraise when he does do something small, right? Yes, department wanted for this guy.
Well, in some ways, if they should have actually
1 more minute.
a better match to match with. So
Develop a new, what's big platform, where people who have shuffled to find better fit
Yeah.
within the institution. This one is
You get it.
You start to get a little sense of okay,
Maybe he's good at something, and somebody else is or objectives at something.
and you can stay
Give
away
the
from
opportunity to do part of the old job that he liked and part of the new job, and maybe you have people share responsibilities, so like he's part-time and one part-time together, and one other staff person is part-time.
Yes, so
Yeah, makes it.
All right. Case presenter can now turn around. So you can turn back around and you're going to share what you've learned from your peers. And we have some prompts that might help you, and this is also on your sheet. What was the impact of the conversation? What did you learn? What are you taking away? And this note about this is not a moment to defend or clarify, but it's really to share like what you've learned. Is there anything that you actually think you might be able to implement? Okay, 5 minutes.
I know, you've got 5 minutes to tell us.
It's nice to have it all watch like you don't have a reaction. Okay, so let's see.
So the impact, I guess, one of the things I'm really looking at is, when you're several of us are children, right? So really, he's like, I'm very grateful that he said, we're not the passion that he brought to me.
One more minute.
Proud of that you've done that. Yeah, exactly.
And the really is a way to
Right. Oh, no. And so I think those letters sound like, well, it was really like the director that like the same message for all the way. Like, so like, wow, they can't read it, someone else would read it. So that was, and so that's another thing, first reading of this stuff. I don't even hear people like this. I don't even know. Like, and do it in this fashion. Right. Like, the whole just like, yeah. But I think those are really incredible pass on. But I don't think, and that's all there's so far. Which is.
Alrighty, time is up, and I can't, okay. All right. We'll let you wrap it up, because I'm so curious to hear. Yeah, in the lobby and stuff. Okay, you guys, let's come back together. So how was that? I heard, I loved you were like, that's amazing. Why was it amazing?
I really liked having the ideas wash over you without you having to fully process them.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
something really nice when you're like facing each other. You're like making sure.
I don't think we need to. Let's go.
So I just thought it was really weird. That's a really good point that I've actually never heard. No one in our group has ever said that, but I agree. You can just listen and you can sort of be passive and relaxed about it.
Well, and on the like other side of that equation, it was sort of nice. This is gonna sound really callous. It was nice not to have to work at making that communication with you happen.
No, totally.
It was like we could have kind of like a separate conversation about the issue, but not feel like it was all cut up and like, okay, but how can we say it in a way that you're going to hear and listen to and take in? And it was just sort of like, and I think we were all a little bit like at the beginning, we were all feeling more of a need to sort of like, should we be addressing this to you or not? And then it just kind of started flowing and it was like the three of us talking and it felt much more freeing.
Yeah. Also, you guys.
For me, as a positive, incredibly, I wish that I could, I'm compulsive to take it, I wish I hadn't done it and just let
I always see that show. I might have to go.
and that music.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
But no, I mean, I think the outside perspective is really helpful.
Were you uncomfortable? Was it awkward?
I felt a little weird because I feel like you're not supposed to talk about people behind their back. You're not talking about people behind their back.
Sorry, I have to go. This is wonderful. I really appreciate it.
What's nice about this is that it is so candid and open, but you know, even when we were doing it in our department, we did one actually last week, and I was in a group, and the case presenter was the head of our department, and I feel like our group was a little bit like, we were holding back a little bit, like we didn't want to say like, oh, she's totally playing a victim card, but at the end when we debriefed, she was like, I wish someone had just said that, like I wanted you guys to like be a little meaner to me, honestly, but it is a little hard, especially when you are close to the person who is presenting.
Yeah, I mean, the group was helpful. We sort of knew that we were, we knew that we were solving a problem. But again, you go into problem-solving mode so fast.
Yeah.
That you just want to say like, okay, wait, this can't wait, and you just want to like tap the person on the shoulder and say, so, but it's good that you sort of force yourself to keep going for a couple more minutes. Like, we'll find something else to think about, or suss this out a little bit more.
That's a good point too, because it makes you sort of keep digging.
Yeah.
And you don't stop at the like first reaction.
Yeah. So you're sort of helping, then you're giving extra work to the person. You're not like, okay, well, we have an idea, turn around. So
Right.
it does more benefit for the listeners.
No, we were at first, because we talked about it in front of her. Right.
But I think it is just on each of the music. But how
do that in a stranger situation, kind of easily, but.
You worry about
at
it.
work,
Yeah.
yeah.
So can you guys imagine doing this in your own workplace? See your balance.
Depends on, I feel like depends on you.
Yeah.
It would be just horrible to.
Yeah.
For a boss or whatever. And but even at the same level.
I'd love to try it for, like, there's a multi-departmental staff group that I'm a part of, and I'd love to sort of make this part of the toolkit for
Yeah.
people getting some perspective outside of their, departments are constantly reorganizing, and I think people get a little shell-shocked, and lose perspective from, that I think can help with this kind of attitude, especially mixing up people with departments.
We have groups like that. Our Slack, the people, I mean, just, that I can see this totally working.
I think
with their whole thing.
I think it's possible to have people too, and just be like, hey, I want to try this thing out. Really get people to come up with a bunch of kind of things. I think the hammer's been really important. We've done it in our group, and then sort of talking about it, and other people, then they start talking about it, and I start talking about it. I did this thing, it was amazing, it really helped me. See, did you want to say something about it?
I think it'd be really interesting to do it, like, there's MCN2016.
Yeah.
And rumors that. No, but it is useful, we were talking about how if we could do it in other organizations. She has a small department, she has a large one, so for me, I can, because I'm critical.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to do it either, if you could do it by Skype, like virtually, and then the person who's the case study could just turn off their camera,
Yeah.
as a safe thing for the year, or else.
That's interesting.
Because I think that one challenge, I can hear what it sounds like, because you actually brought up the perspective from your spouse, and then it made me think of the perspective from my spouse on your issue. But we do think of ourselves as a different field in museums, and we want specific things. And even in a museum that's the same scale, has a new building that opened at the same time, and hasn't, like, we had a lot of similarities, but she had once challenged the thing that made it different.
Yeah.
And so it was hard, it would have been really hard for someone who just walked in the door to do this.
Yeah.
So, but you say you play on the camera.
Yeah.
Are you picking up someone and
So
doing this for?
we've done it in our group, and it's our manager who basically tells us to do it. And so it is voluntary. We have a group of 9 people, including our manager, and so she started having us doing it. It's technically voluntary, but I think everyone likes doing it. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't like doing it. After we did it the first time, we were like, oh wow. It's an interesting thing that happens though when she's like last Thursday. She walked into our suite. She said, "Okay, you guys, we're doing Peer Consulting," and we were all like, it was 3 o'clock on Friday or Thursday, and we were all like, and there was this shift you have to make. Like if you're sitting there, and you have to be like, okay, I'm gonna talk to the people now. And it was really hard. I found it so hard to like tear myself away. And then we did it, and then it was really hard to go back to the But so then we started doing it. Arielle and I introduced it to the digital working group, which is across the departmental group with the hammer. And there we had a little more of a mixed reception. Most people loved it. There was at least one person who was kind of like, I don't get the point of this. I don't think it was very helpful. And he presented, and he was like, oh yeah, I already knew what I was going to do. I already knew the solution when I was presenting. And I was like, but you just weren't playing ball.
Yeah.
But people really like it. One of the people was Phil, and I'm sure he doesn't mind that I share that he's one of the people who had a really difficult situation with a vendor. That I was involved with situations like I wasn't involved with Peer Consulting. A vendor, contracting, our lawyer, a problem, the contract went bad, like it went south, and he was in the middle, he and I were both caught in the middle of it. And when he presented at Peer Consulting, at the end of it, he was like, whoa, I realized, listening to my peers, that it wasn't me, it was the institution that's fucked up. Like, I didn't mess up. It's like we have a fucked up system, and now I feel so much better that I wasn't, that, he was like, I had been carrying this guilt around.
And that goes back to like the validation thing. Even if your problem isn't a
necessarily solve your consultancy, it can really just help you get better, which is
And you stop sort of blaming,
Yeah.
and you stop blaming yourself because you get some perspective that like maybe there's other problems. This person is like really afraid of losing their authority. So just doesn't excuse it, but it gives you some perspective and gives you like ideas about, okay, well, I won't push this idea, but maybe I'll I'll suggest something. It just gives you a way to sort of have some agency in it, so you can at least act on it.
Yes, sure. This is unrelated, but I do have a question. Is time up?
Yeah.
Or time's up, okay. Do you want to, you can ask us while we. Okay. I just wanted to, archetypes felt really negative.
Really what? Oh, negative. Oh, that's a good point.
And I just, in hearing them, I was like, they're trying to find something that fits, and they're like, well, part of this, and everything they, like, we're trying to pick out, like, but it's not mean, or it's not productive.
Interesting, yeah.
They were really worried about that. They felt really warm because they felt so negative. And then plus,
Wow.
I didn't even want to use it. You were like, let's use it. And I was like,
You don't
that's
have
all
to
I
use
need
them,
on
yeah.
I know how to say out loud.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I don't want to use it.
Right, and it feels like so playful, which might not be helpful.
So these are based on this whole thing is based on a totally copyrighted process by Benson. Is this yours?
Oh yeah, where is it?
And so we rewrote those and gave them new titles. And so I take full responsibility for the negativity. But I think the originals are a little.
They are.
The
They are
originals,
negative.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
I
You don't,
just
yeah.
think it'd be fun to come up with some positive archetypes.
Let's put these out.
Or neutral.
It might be a good way to actually get buy-in from colleagues to do the process.
Oh,
Is if you
yeah.
can come up with your own set of archetypes within the workplace.
Or maybe they just need to turn something like, oh yeah, the camera was not negative. Yeah. Oh, no.